Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. And of course, today is the 30th of September, the last day of the month, which means that we got a monthly and quarterly closure here. It's something that we only get 4 times a year, as the name implies, obviously. So what I want to start off with is the higher term timeframes, of course, as always, as this is going to, supersede everything else for the long term. And what do we have right here on the monthly? We actually do have what would appear to be a rejection of the topside Toronto band for right now. That's at about basically just below 3,500 or so. So barring a closure back above 3,500 by end of day, possible, although I wouldn't necessarily say it's the most probable closure today. I probably would be looking for early October to be a little more corrective rather than expansive in this case. Quarterly, however, still very, very good. So this would set in my buys for end of year. Probably does test around new all-time highs. Or sorry, in this case, probably make new all-time highs, assuming that we close the quarterly. In this case, I really want to see it close at least above $3,000. That would make me feel a lot more confident in that statement. Until then, I would hold a bit of reservations. Now, currently we're trading $40 above 3,000, but that's a sneeze in this market with 17 hours, 38 minutes, and 35 seconds left to go until closure. Let's actually go down to the lower term timeframes over here, come up with some areas of interest and some ranges, obviously, and some invalidations on this one as well. And what do we have? We still have lower highs. In fact, this one is operating on lower highs as long as we're below about 3,100 or so. And I would confirm this as an early lower high right here if this thing does close a 4-hour dildo back below basically $3,000 actually. So if you see a 4-hour closure below $3,000, I would be interpreting that as an early signal that this one's going to come back down to the range lows and probably set it up for a breakout. Sorry, not breakout, but a breakout to the downside in early October, probably targeting moves down to 23 to 2,400 or so. Which would still actually look good long term if you're looking at the weekly right here. Corrections down to the 55 are completely fine. It's actually a little bit lower than that, to be fair, as well. So a lot's going to be riding on this next closure to come. But let's just postulate right here for the long term. Let's say, let me actually just delete this whole chart because we only need 2 things to be looking at right now. Let's just say that Ethereum does break down early October, assuming that it doesn't get that closure that we're looking at for on the quarterly here. And let's say it comes down to like 23 to 2,400. Well, what would we have, presumably speaking? We'd have something like this, which would be a massively long-term, not necessarily short-term, but long-term bullish formation. It would also imply a nasty move to the downside in the interim as well. Let's go back down to the short-term timeframes over here. And of course, where would I look for short-term continuation? Not necessarily to 3,500, but probably to 33 to 3,400 would be any sort of a 4-hour, even just a wick higher than basically like 3,200 in this case, or a 4-hour closure above about 3,150. If one of those 2 things happens, I would be looking for this one to put in a move somewhere around 3,350 to 3,400 or so. Go check out this over here. Let's see what we got. 6-hour stuff is going to be up as long as above 3,000, or sorry, 2,900, not 3,000. 4-hour is going to be up as long as above 2,900 as well. Hourly is flip-flopping around right now, but 3016 is the magical number for the next hourly closure. 12-hour is going to show 3,000, almost even, and daily is also going to be around 2,900. So a lot of things actually pinned around 2,900. Perhaps it'd be a little bit aggressive of me to call this bearish if it does close a 4-hour below 3,000, but well, I probably would still actually hold on to that, to be honest with you. Do we have any sort of divergences to be aware of right here? No. So that's a good sign for right now. Maybe an hourly does, however. Hourly RSI is making massively higher highs right there, but it also did flip the trend for right now, so fair enough. Other than that, this one actually looks like short term it's gonna try a little bit higher. Let's see what the response is at around 3,100, and from there can march up targets a little bit higher if it starts to expand from there. In fact, 4-hour Joule has a nice signal going on right now, supported also by BBWP expanding above 50 percentile. That is, I mean, it would be implying momentum oscillators to the upside right now as well. So keep an eye on about 31. Let's call it 3150 to be conservative here. Because this is a big piece of price action going on, and then pay attention to the quarterly closure. But long term, still pretty damn good. Here's how the short term resolves itself, which is going to essentially drive the biases for early October. So hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for Ethereum.